Okay, so what we're going to need to create our salt dough or our clay is going to be 1/4 cup of salt, 1/4 cup of water, 1/2 cup of flour, a mixing bowl, a spatula, a pencil, and some kind of blue and green pink paint or marker pens. It's up to you depending on what you've got, and it's going to take a little bit of time for this process to take place. So we're going to have to create the artwork, it's going to have to then dry, then you're going to be painting or adding the color. So watch the video and then decide how you want to add that color once your artwork or ornament has dried out. So find yourself a spot that you are allowed to start making your dough in. You're going to want all your ingredients in an area where we can wipe down the surfaces. So you're going to take your 1/4 cup of water and add that into your mixing bowl. Next, you're going to want to add your salt, and your salt is again 1/4 cup of salt. And then grab yourself your spatula and give that a really good stir. We want to try and mix up all that salt into the water so that the salt dissolves into the water evenly. So keep stirring it. If you don't have a spatula, grab a spoon or a fork, something like that. Alright, keep mixing. Make sure it's all nicely distributed in that water and it's nice and even. That looks pretty good right now. Yep, okay. So grab yourself your flour and gradually add your flour whilst mixing in, whilst stirring even. So keep stirring as you keep adding that flour. And that way the salt again will be evenly distributed. Keep stirring. And you'll start to see everything starts to come together. Now you might find that you need to add a little bit more water, but the more you keep stirring, the more we'll find out. So keep mixing it. Let me see, this is looking pretty good. So I'm trying to pull it together. Oh, I might need to add a little tiny bit more water. So. Oh, that looks good. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to try and make this into a ball now. Roll it together, squeeze it, try and get that mixture to really come together. Oh, nice. Now you can see that my consistency of my dough together. And as I squeeze it, it's almost like a Play-Doh consistency, so it goes back together. It's not too dry. If it's too dry, you'll see when you squeeze it like this, it's just going to crack. And then that way you know you need to add a little bit more water. And if you squeeze it and it just kind of goes really slimy, then you need too much water and you want to add some flour. Alrighty, so now that I have my salt dough, now salt dough dries in the air. So if you want to keep this for another time, or you have extra and you want to keep it for another project, put it into a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, or a container, and you can pop it in the fridge, and it should keep for about 3 to 4 days before you would have to make some more. So we're going to use ours straight away, but like I said, if you want to keep it for a bit of time, you can do that. So I asked you guys to get a box, cereal box. If you don't have a cereal box, you could use scrap paper, anything that's clean for you to be able to put your dough on top. I just cut one out from my cereal box earlier on today. Using the flour on the surface will stop that dough from sticking, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on there. And then what I'm going to do is make sure my dough is into a nice round bowl. What we want to do is we want to create something called a slab. A slab is basically a flat piece of clay that you can usually ornaments out of, or different sculptures. So it's a flat piece of clay. It wants to be about the thickness of your thumb, okay? And if you have a tiny thumb, maybe it'd be 2 fingers. Whereas mine, it would be my thickness of my thumb right here. Or the thickness of a marker would be a good idea, or a marker. So, I'm going to put it on the middle right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the flat surface of my hand to gently push down the ball of clay. Now you can use a rolling. I think we need it for this purpose because honestly guys, you can probably do this just with that flat part of your hand really easily. So I'm just pushing down gently to be able to create that flat slab that I was talking about. So you can see that now as a thumb, if I was to hold it right here, or about the thickness of a marker, is perfect. Once your clay is that slab that we were trying to get, perfect. Now what we want to do is create earth shape. To make our earth shape, you could use a cookie cutter, or you could cut one out freehand. I'm actually going to use a glass, and I'm just going to put the glass on top of my clay and gently push down on the clay because I don't have any cookie cutters, so I'm using it. Now, if you're using a cookie cutter or a glass, you might want to twist it like I'm doing right now. Twisting it will mean that you can loosen the clay. There's one over there. And then gently tap, and it'll come out. Oops, it flew out. Never mind. Popping out. It flew out. Now, I have shape, but first, before we start, I'm going to use this clay for my love heart. So I want to put it to one side so that it doesn't get too dry. I'm going to pop it in here so I don't get, oh, there's water in there. I forgot about that. I'm going to pop it in there. Now, what I want to do is, the first things first, is I want to create my hole that my ornament is going to hang from. So to do so, I'm going to get a pencil. I'm going to use this pencil because it's kind of, it's like a softly blunted pencil, so it's not too sharp. And I'm going to basically put the hole through my clay earth. And I want to do it kind of at the top. I would say maybe about fingernails width from the top. And I'm pushing through very slowly and gently and twisting as I go until my finger can feel the pencil coming through the other side. Once you can feel the pencil coming through the other side, take this out, turn it over, and look for that hole that you created where it means I can now put the pencil through the other side and do the same thing again. The reason why we're doing that is because we don't want the hole to be the thickness of the pencil. We want it to be a little bit thinner. So now you can see my holes coming through right there. Perfect. And now we can focus on trying to recreate the green continents on your clay. So we're going to try using the pencil as a guide to our outline. And you're going to be basically pushing the pencil into the clay like so to try and create a groove where the continents. So firstly, I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to start around about the area of Canada, and I'm going to work my way down into South America. So I'm going to start up here, and you can try your best to copy this earth up here, or you can make up your own. It's really up to you. So I'm going to try and press into my clay the pattern of the continents as accurately as possible. So I'm trying to work around creating my region where I'm coming down the side of America right now. And again, I'm just kind of like dotting gently into my clay with my pencil, creating that groove. It's going to stand out when we dry our clay. Now I'm creating my area of Florida. It's not accurate 100%, but I'm trying my best. And I'm coming around the Gulf of Mexico and down into South America, creating the best I can the continents outline. Now you're not going to be able to fit the whole world on this clay because obviously we're only seeing a portion of the world. but we can try, and you can choose which part you want to actually recreate, or let you make yours up. It's up to you. So now you can start to see how the outline of my American continent is coming through. Excellent, right there. And then the next part I need to do is I need to create my European continent up here, and then my African continent down here. So here, and try and work around my European countries. Remember, it's just a general outline. And then we come back here, we've got Africa. And Africa is a really big continent on a map. So we're going to come all the way down here. And again, I'm just dotting and pressing into my clay. Once you have the general outline, oh, I forgot to put England, which is not very good considering I used to live there. There we go. And there's Spain. Kind of made that groove too big. That's okay. Now that I have my basic outline, I'm going to take my time to try and make this groove. So I'm going to press my clay and try and get that line really defined and nice and tidy. Let me hold this up so you guys can see it in the light a little bit better. So right now you can see that I have some of these kind of things called burrs or little edges. We want to try and get rid of those because they'll just fall off when we paint it anyway. If I can try and make that clay nice and smooth in that groove, it will make it much more successful. And you can see right there how I'm doing that, using that pencil. If you don't have a pencil like this, you could try using a toothpick, or maybe a pen would work, ballpoint pen. There we go, that looks great. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with my earth right now. I think I just need to tidy up down here a little bit. Oh, awesome. Okay, now my last but not least, I want to add that logo. Now if you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you would like to do something else, maybe you could put a big E here or something. It's really up to you. But to do this, we need to stick the clay together. To stick clay together, you have to do two things. You have to do slip and score. So what we do is we create a slip, water, okay? That's going to be like our glue. And we're going to score the area that we want to stick onto. So I'm going to take a little bit of that extra clay I had, or my salt dough, and I'm going to make a small ball, like so. And I want to create a love heart. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and create almost like a coin shape with my fingertips. And it wants to be kind of thick, about this thickness is good. We're going to put our fingers together to create the bottom of our love heart by squeezing gently. And it's creating that point or a triangle, and I'm going to flatten it again. Squeeze it one more time, flatten it again. And you can see how it's almost creating an arrow shape, which is perfect because that's the shape we want for the bottom of our love heart. Now we need to make it like a letter M. Now you can take a pencil and you could press down, or you can use your fingertips, but you want to press down and create that letter M shape. I'll use my pencil so you can see I'm creating that letter M, pressing down with my clay. Oh, you can start to see my love heart. And so as I'm moving my clay, I'm also making it change shape widthways. So we want to make sure that our width is always maintained to be the same all the way along. Now you can see that my love heart's coming together nicely. I'm going to try and tidy up that shape the best I can. Quite like that. Right there. So now we've created our love heart, we need to stick it down onto our earth. To do that, like I said, we need to do slip and score. And that means that we need to gently score the area that my love heart is going to go. And that means just basically making a little mark on our clay, which basically means that it's going to stick better. Then what you're going to do is do the same on your love heart, making that surface a little bit rougher. Take a little bit of water, Put it on the back of your love heart and on the area you're scoring. And you're going to push that down like so. Make sure it's nice and stuck onto your earth shape. Nice. Okay, let's turn this around a little bit. Make sure that love heart is nice and stuck onto our clay. Pushing it down gently. There's my love heart right there. Using that pencil. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much perfect. Alright, now that you're happy with your ornament, or your earth ornament, it needs to dry so that we can add our color to this piece of work. To make it dry, or to let it dry I should say, you can sit it on a sunny windowsill or somewhere warm. However, right now it's actually raining outside. So to make this dry, what I'm going to do is put it in the oven. I'm going to make sure I have a grown-up to help me, and I'm going to turn my oven down really, really low. My oven goes down only to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. You could probably put it at 150 on a piece of, and put it in the oven to allow it to dry. We basically want this clay to lose all its moisture, for everything to evaporate so that it is nice and dry and able to be painted or to be decorated further. Once it is dry, it is going to be very fragile. That's why this ornament is ornament. It's a clay ornament that is fragile, because we are not using a kiln that would normally make it much more durable, which means that we need to be very careful with it when we take it out of the oven or out from on the sun on the windowsill. So once it's done, pop back and I will see you soon. So once you take your artwork out of the oven, you just need to double check that it's nice and firm, make sure an adult is with you when you do so, and you just want to make sure that everywhere feels like it's dry and firm to the touch. Perfect. Yep, ready to paint. Now, when it comes to decorating your ornaments, I want you to be able to basically have a go at whatever you have available at home. And what I've done is I have selected a couple of different options for my three. I'm going to do 3 different mediums on my 3 ornaments so you can see what they look like. On one of them, I'm going to use markers, how that comes out. On my second one, I'm going to be using washable markers that I created a paint with by letting them sit in water when they were drying up. And then I'm going to use a regular thick paint on my third and see how that looks. So, that being said, what I'm going to do is I am going to basically decorate my heart on each of them and see how it comes out. First of all, I'm going to do it in the marker. So I'm going to just put him in the middle for a second. So I'm going to try this out and see what it looks like. So I'm using my marker like a coloring pencil all the way around. I'm going to see what that comes out like. And like I said, I haven't even had a go at this yet, so this is kind of exciting. See if it works or not. And I'm going to try and go around the edge where it joins onto my earth, nice and gently, using the side of my marker all the way around there. I'm going to hold it like this, taking my time. Now, you can see that there's a couple of little areas where my pen is a little bit thick, too thick to get into, but that's okay. It'll add an interesting texture. Okay, let's see what that one looks like. Alright, so there's one. Markers. Let's try the heart using my watercolor made by my marker that was drying up. And this looks like, again, I don't know, it's going to see, it's like a test. Wipe it on the edge of the cup. Let's paint on here. Well, that's interesting. It looks a little bit like a strawberry. I'm painting around the edge. It's easier to get onto my clay. The color is definitely a little bit lighter. Alright, so there's that one. And last but not least, let's try this guy. So this one, I'm just using regular acrylic or poster paint, depending on what you have at home. And I'm just going to paint onto my love heart right here. And see how that comes out. And this one certainly seems more vibrant, but getting the paint on is a little bit more tricky. It's definitely, you've got to try and push it into those cracks a little bit more than the watercolor. Remember, this is all about experimenting and seeing which one you prefer and what you have available to make this work at home. And I feel like 3 things that you might potentially have. So if you don't have these and you want to give something else a go, so maybe you have food dye and you want to try that, let me know what works. Send me an email. We can try out different things. Alright, let me turn this around. Alrighty. Okay, I like that one. That looks cool. So we have marker pen, our homemade watercolor from marker pens that were drying up, and we have our acrylic paint right down there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the rest of them. I'm going to paint my continents green and my ocean blue on each of them using the same thing, and I'll be right back. See you in a second. Okay, and there we have it. We have my 3 Earths for Earth Day, and I absolutely love them. I think they look great. My favorite is probably going to be this guy. I really like the way this one turned out. I like how it's kind of lighter in shading. This also looks really cool. This one was the straightforward acrylic or poster paint. I think the vibrancy came out lovely, and you can really see how that earth really pops out with the love heart on top. It looks great. And then, like I said, this one was the watered down markers, the washable markers, and again, that came out amazing. And that was from markers that were dried up and going to get thrown away or recycled, so that came out beautiful. And then we have this one, finally, just straightforward marker pen, like drawn on top of or colored in on top of my clay there. It looks amazing. I'm really pleased with it. So the last and final step before you do anything is these are ornaments. They are not edible, and they are not toys because they are fragile. So we're going to put some string through the hole that we created so that we can hang them up for Earth Week, or every day's Earth Day, really, let's be honest. But let's have a look. Tie my knot in the top of my string, or my twine, whatever you have at home. And we have our beautiful Earth Day ornament. See you again soon. Bye, guys.